On today's Prep Rally podcast, we'll talk about the 3 feats of the week, plus Springdale Public Schools is looking for a new athletic director.
It's the Prep Rally Podcast, the only podcast in the state dedicated to prep sports. Brought to you by the Northwest Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. Here's your host, Chip Souza.
Welcome to the Prep Rally Podcast. I'm Chip Souza, joined by Rick Fires. We got a mystery man here, Rick.
Who is this guy?
Whoa! It's the bearded wonder is back. Paul Boyd is back with us after a little high. Been on the DL for a little while. Been on the DL.
It's great to have him back.
Not the download. Not the download.
No.
So we got good to have Paul back, and we got Leland Barclay down in the River Valley, and we got a lot of things to talk about. So we're going to talk about the 3 feats of the week, like we lead every podcast off or have been the last couple of weeks. So we're going to talk about 3 big athletic achievements that have taken place in the last week. So, Ricky, I'm going to start with you. You have some soccer feats, F-E-E-T-S, and it's going to be one of the F-E-A-T-S of the week.
Absolutely. Now, we've had some more inclement weather move in, but we did get a soccer game on Monday night. There was Rogers against Fort Smith Northside. Rogers won the game 4-3, and Grace Nowlin scored 3 of the 4 goals. That means she had, what do you call it?
A hat trick. A hat trick.
Now, Grace,
I don't know why is it called a hat trick, Paul? They don't wear hats.
No, I couldn't tell you that one.
it originated with hockey.
Hockey?
So
well, that already makes
when
sense.
The fans would throw their hats on the rink when somebody would score 3 goals.
There you go. How about octopus? They still throw that on the rink in
I think so. Yeah. I don't know. PETA might have gotten a hold of that and canceled it.
If you throw one of those, is it an octopi, and then you have to throw another one for it to be an octopus? I don't know. There's something about that.
I don't know about that.
Also, there's not deers.
No,
they're all just deer, not deers.
But anyway, she scored 3 goals for a hat trick, moves Rogers girl to 7-1-1. You know, even a tie gets you some points in the standings. So
I'll tell you what, Paul, man, these girls' soccer teams, man, you talking about Bentonville West, Fayetteville, Rogers, man, it's going to be a slugfest in soccer, let me tell you, on the girls' side.
And on Friday, weather permitting, I will be there when Rogers plays defending state champions Bentonville West.
There you go.
Big game there. And I think the following week, I don't know if it's on Tuesday or Thursday or Friday, but Rogers will play at Fayetteville, state runners-up from last year, and the winner before that. So really just along the weather clears up, we're really going to have some good soccer action.
Great soccer going on. All right, now feat number 2 belongs to me.
Yes.
I'm going to take you over to the softball world, where I've been the grand poobah of softball for the last couple of years, and I love that. And let me tell you, Ricky, soccer's good. Paul, soccer's good for our girls. Softball is even better, and it's great at the lower classification. Now, we know Bentonville 6A, they've won 4 in a row and 3 in a row, or however many it's been. I always got to ask Kent early, how many rings am I holding up? That's how many in a row it's been. But we're not just reserved to 6A. There's some really good teams in the lower classifications. We know Hackett has been very good. Mansfield, Hackett, Ricky got together on Monday night. Now, these are 2 towns pretty close. You've
I've been there.
Time. You know you're in the River Valley. Hackett, Mansfield, pretty close. Paul, in 8 innings, a 2-1 game.
Love it.
Nice. Great game. So good teams there. Boonville, very good. But we're going to talk about Farmington right here. And they got a young lady over there named Justine Davidson. And, Paul, she has been, as Courtney Deifel terms, she's been swinging it. She's been swinging that bat. So in a double 2 games on Saturday, they went up to Farmington. Lady Cardinal went up to Mountain Home to play 2 games. In those 2 games, Justine Davidson, 5 for 6, 3 home runs, 7 RBIs, okay? So that's a good day right there for her. That's a big-time feat, okay?
Day.
All right. Well, she came back last night. They played Prairie Grove in a conference game. They were dodging, storms or whatever and got their game in. Last night she had 2 more doubles and another home run for Farmington. So she is
on a roll.
Swinging it. She's on a roll. You better believe she's on a roll. So good for her. That is my feat of the week. Justine Davidson, Farmington, She had been smacking them balls like they're beach balls coming up there.
She'll be one of those where get one of these.
Yeah, put her on.
Yeah.
Put her on.
Yeah.
Put her on. She's not like
Yeah, not messing around. Just go.
Put her on.
Go
Put
to
her on.
first base.
All right, so we've got a soccer feed of the week.
Yes.
Got a softball feed of the week. We're going to go to Leland for the third feed of the week, and we also, Rick, you're going back to the FEETS for this one.
Some very fast feats.
Yes.
Demari Smith ran a 10.51 100-meter dash on Friday at the
Wow.
Fayetteville Bulldogs Relay.
That's picking them up,
Which-
putting them down.
which set a Northside school record, breaking a 28-year-old record previously set by Kaneko Logan.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that is also a top 50 time in the nation.
Wow.
Outstanding.
Wow.
Outstanding.
That is picking them up. Now, remember Leland raced Demari at Media Day down at Fort Smith, Ricky. They lined up in what'd you run, the 40, Leland? The 40?
The 40. We ran the 40.
And for the first 5 yards, Leland was right there with him for the first 5 yards.
Maybe
And then-
3.
And then
3. Yeah, maybe 3.
and then Demari turned around and said, "You like my backside? That's all you're going to see the rest of this race is my
That's
backside."
right.
He kept asking me if I wanted a head start. I said, no, I don't want a head start. Maybe I should have taken a head start.
That's like back in high school, Ricky, me and my teammate, we averaged 18 points a game. He averaged 17.5. I threw in that 0.5. Together, we're at 18. Average
Hey,
18.
that reminds me of like Hank Aaron. Hank Aaron and his brother had a combined, I don't know how
Yeah.
many home runs.
752.
Yeah, and his brother, I think his name was Tommy, played in the major league for a little bit. He maybe had 6.
Yeah.
So he's bragging about him and
Hey.
his brother. Man, we're right up
Long
there.
as I'm in there. Long as
yeah,
I'm in there
long
somewhere.
as I'm in there.
So some great athletic achievements going on in the area. There's no question about that. Now, we did get hit with a little bit of weather on Tuesday night, so we had a lot of games
Yes.
that were kind of postponed. Some kind of took preemptive measures and didn't. They said, we're going to just wait.
Duck out.
Safety first.
Duck
Yes.
out and that kind of thing. So I think, Leland, one of them that you had mentioned was Bentonville softball. I can't remember now who they were going to play. They were supposed to play it, and then they have changed that one, and they didn't get to play their game. So quite a few baseball games. More baseball games, I think, were affected last night than anything. We did get a couple of softball games played, and so they got some of those. But this is springtime,
Yep.
and it's just something that we deal with.
You have to be fluid. You have to, the weather. You have to. Hey, Mother Nature rules.
Yeah.
I don't care.
She's
you
undefeated.
You can plan what
Yeah.
all you want. If she says no go, it's no go.
She is undefeated, all-time undefeated. But so Leland, talk to me a little bit about because you got a really interesting race, I think, going on in the 5A West for baseball and for softball both. Let's talk about baseball first because Greenwood's off to a big start in the 5A West in baseball.
They are undefeated, off to a great start. They swept a doubleheader. They moved games at Harrison to Monday night. They swept that doubleheader. Grant Carnes with his second great outing on the mound in conference play. In the second game, he's now 4-0 with a 2.39 earned run average on the on the year. So they're undefeated still in the 5A West. Greenwood girls also swept the doubleheader in softball at Harrison.
2 great pitching performances in that one, Leland. Tori
Absolutely.
Howard was great in that doubleheader. She won the first game, then came back and got the save in the second game.
Yep, and Alma split a doubleheader in baseball against Russellville on Monday. Van Buren has moved their doubleheader, and they'll be playing Wednesday night.
Which would be two night.
Yep,
Two
and
nights,
then Northside lost. Rogers defeated Northside 11-1 in baseball in the first game of the 2-game series. I think that game too. The second one is going to be Wednesday night.
Yep.
Southside earned the open date this week in the 9-team 6A West Conference. And then I think everyone else play Monday night?
I think most everybody got their games.
I think
in.
everybody
Yeah.
else got their first game in.
I know Rogers Heritage won, and Paul, if my math is right, I think they have won. I believe it's 14 or 15 in a row.
Several in a row.
Yeah,
for
they
sure.
started out, started out 0-2, and they've won 14 or 15 since then. So they're on a roll. Leland, talk about also you mentioned the softball in the 5A West and Greenwood getting a pair of wins there. So looks like to me Greenwood is kind of coming around. I don't know how many girls they had that were on the basketball team, but I know Maddie Cartwright's not playing softball this year, and that's a big loss, for the softball team.
That's a big loss.
But
Yes.
so they're kind of coming around and getting back into the swing of it. But they have a new coach over at Greenwood too, Donnie Hart over there.
Yes, he came from
Paris.
I think he came from Paris.
Yeah.
Had a very successful program there.
Correct.
So, Ronnie Saki left, and that's it's kind of been a little bit of an adjustment for him. New coaches are always, it's new.
Yeah.
So they're still in the run of it. They had a lead against Van Buren in the second game of the doubleheader last week. Van Buren came back, tied it, and won it in the 8th. So Van Buren and Harrison Harrison were undefeated.
Well, Harrison's
and then
not anymore.
Greenwood swept Harrison Monday night. So now Van Buren is in sole possession of first place.
Yeah.
And I think this week marks pretty much puts us at the halfway point of the spring sports seasons.
Now, we also want to mention Leland. Leland didn't cover it. Harold McIlvain covered it. The Rumble, what is Van Buren? What is it? The
River City Rumble.
River City Rumble. Van Buren hosted that, had a lot of good teams down there. What a terrific championship game. The Rogers Lady Mounties won that one against Van Buren 1-0. 1-0. The Rogers softball team, Paul, they are 15-2.
Nice.
They didn't give up a run in that tournament, I don't think.
They did not give up a run in the tournament. They went 3-0. Again, they have a new coach. Hannah Neal is their coach. She's taken over for Mike Harper. And again, new philosophy, a lot of new things.
New blood.
New blood, that kind of thing. But one thing they don't have that's new, or a couple things they don't have that's not new, Ella Beeman is still there, and Ava Johnson is still there, and that's a pretty good dynamic 1-2 pitching punch, and that's what led them to their win in that tournament. But you're right, Ricky, 3 straight shutouts in that tournament for Rogers to win that tournament. So good for them. Bentonville is leading the 6A West, and they are 11-1 overall, and they have the most dynamic 1-2 punch in the circle with Ryan Sanders and with Casey Wood, who's, of course, is going to Arkansas to play there. She has really emerged as a pitcher this year. She pitched last year. Seems like she's taken it up a notch, and she's throwing really, really hard. And so what Kent Early's doing, and he's going starter reliever. 4-3, 4-3. You get Ryan in there for four innings, and then by the time that lineup comes back around to maybe the third time, then you're seeing a completely different pitcher who has a completely different windmill and is throwing harder than what Ryan's throwing right now. So must be nice to be Kent Early.
Absolutely. Yeah. And he's got the rings to show it.
Got the rings to show it. So that's what's happening with softball. We'll talk a little 6A baseball. Leland had already alluded to the fact that Rogers went down to Fort Smith Northside on Monday and got a win there. The Mounties are loaded. They, they're going to be hard to beat, and this team is poised to make a deep run. Paul, I know you hadn't been around and seen much of it.
I hadn't had a chance.
But man, they are. Leland, I think they're probably every bit as good as the team that won the state championship a couple of years ago, if not better.
Probably so. They have the pitching. Yes. Certainly, they have the hitting up and down the lineup. And remember that game 1. That was against McLean Moody.
Yes, who had thrown a no-hitter, had a no-hitter for 7 innings the week before at Fayetteville.
He had only given up 2 earned runs in his previous 17 2/3 innings. Yeah. So, for them to get that win, they jumped out to a 5-0 lead in the first inning. Of course, they rolled up and down the lineup, contributions. The catcher for Rogers, Keller Christenberry, bats last. And, you guys are all baseball guys, so you appreciate this, the at-bats, the plate appearances that Christenberry had in that game was just tremendous. He had a sacrifice fly in the first inning. He had a sacrifice bunt that scored a run in the third inning. So he's 0 for 2 or 0 for 0 with 2 RBIs, 2 plate appearances. He has a run scoring single his next time up, and then he's hit by a pitch in his 4th plate appearance.
My
So
God,
he
that's a
had
perfect
one
day at
at
the plate,
bat,
Paul.
He did
and
his
he ended up
job.
scoring a
He
run,
did his job.
scoring a run with 1 hit and 3 RBIs.
That's a perfect day.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's how baseball is. That's why,
Yes,
that's why it's
baseball.
the best game,
Yeah.
boys.
I mean, what a
Yes.
tremendous
Yeah.
outing for him. And I talked to him, and I talked to, of course, Matt Melson after the game, and he said and we say simple line score, those simple stats. He said he was the offensive standout of the game.
Yeah, no doubt.
Doing
No
his
doubt.
job, like Paul said.
Well, and Paul knows this, and he's covered Rogers baseball in the past. Leland, when you mentioned he had a sacrifice bunt for a run, that's Matt Melson baseball.
That is Matt Melson.
That's Matt
baseball.
Melson stamped all over it.
Yes,
that's
sir.
the way they do it.
To try
And,
to anything to score a run, but
Paul, other than Harrison Heffley,
yeah.
has Rogers had a Division I baseball player from their program? Have they?
I don't
Name
think
me
so.
one
I don't think
star
so.
player
Yeah.
that Rogers has had in his baseball program.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, tell me what team is consistently at the top of the 6A West every single year.
Yeah. Rogers.
Matt Melson does the absolute best job of taking what he has to work with
Yes.
and making the most of it. And he's one of those guys that could take baling wire and duct tape,
turn
little
it
duct tape,
into-
and turn it into a freaking car
Yes.
that runs. Only other guy that do that is Andy Shoup. Okay,
Yes.
Andy Shoup can do
Oh, he
that.
can do that.
Matt
I've
Melson
seen him.
can do that.
Yep.
So it's unbelievable what Matt Melson does, and he is at the perfect location, the perfect school, in the perfect setup with, my God, the facilities,
Yes.
unbelievable. And how can you be a kid in Rogers and not, if you have a dirt bag mentality, which baseball players either
Yes.
have that
Do or
mentality
don't.
or find you something different to do.
Yes.
Okay.
And the perfect rivals in Rogers Heritage.
Now that Brian Walker's there, it's
now that
awesome.
Brian Walker.
It's awesome. It's awesome. So baseball is fantastic in this area. We got beautiful facilities, and
Yes.
man, we're just really lucky. So Ricky, you've hit on soccer. I've hit on softball. We've hit a little bit on baseball. So we got that going on. And Leland, you also mentioned we are at the halfway point of the season. Hopefully, the rain doesn't give us any lingering, delay kind of thing. So we want to. We want to get into the.
Yeah.
We want to have the district tournaments when they're supposed to be played and all that stuff.
So we're halfway there, living on a prayer.
Living on a prayer. Living on a prayer. I also want to mention one other softball thing, too, because I think this does need to be mentioned. We talked about Emery Bolin from Pea Ridge a couple weeks ago. She's the
Yes.
one who had the 21 up, 21 strikeouts. Take your bat, go back to the dugout. Maybe better luck next time a couple weeks ago. In the Van Buren tournament against Benton,
Which is pretty good.
Benton.
Large school.
Yeah.
Yes.
the finished in the top 5 nationally last year. She beat them 4-0 in that tournament. Had 12 strikeouts in that game. I was getting messages from her dad. Emory struck out 2 that inning. We're still up 4, trying to hang on. You're trying to hang on. So she's a sophomore. What a huge thing for her and for the Pea Ridge. We talked a little bit about the 6A West. Let me tell you, boys, in the 4A1 softball, Pea Ridge has her. That's going to be a tough game every time that she pitches. Farmington has Justine Davidson, who, when you put it over the plate, there's a good chance they're picking that one up on the other side of the fence over there. Yeah, so we got her. Prairie Grove, very good. They're very, very, very good. This conference is absolutely. Oh, and Gravette.
Always,
State tournament team last year. Everybody back. They lost a close game the other day. They played Bentonville within 5-1, 5-2, 5-3, something like that. Close game. So they're good. The 4A1 softball is going to be a slugfest all the way through as well. And keep in mind, if you're listening to the show and you might not know this, the schools that are below 5A go to a district tournament, then a regional tournament, then their state tournament. So in the regional tournament where they will go to, the 4 teams out of the 4A1
battle, right?
will go to. Morrilton's sitting over there in that region, and Morrilton's as good as anybody. And so the teams that come out of the 4A1 and then out of the 4A North Regional, there's a good chance one or maybe two of those teams will be playing for state championships. Just great softball.
Yeah,
Great softball.
just give us some good weather to play it.
That's what I'm saying. Sunny and 95 degrees, and Leland will be happy.
Yep.
Guaranteed.
And a little humidity to
And a
go
little
along
humidity
with
to
it.
go with
Sure.
that. To go with that. A couple other things we need to talk about real quick. This came out yesterday. Wayne Stellick, the athletic director of Springdale Schools, has announced that he is going to be stepping down out of that role and moving over to a part-time role. So Springdale Public Schools are going to be looking for an executive athletic director there. And so want to
Now that's with Harbor and Springdale combined.
Want
right?
to give Wayne Stellick props here because he has really done a lot to improve the facilities at both Harbor and at Springdale High. I want to make sure I'm right about this, and I'm pretty sure I am right about this. He got Wildcat Stadium built at Harbor. They came over and did the same renovation to Springdale High, Gerald Williams, Bulldog Stadium, where the two stadiums are identical.
Yeah.
So we got that done.
So everybody's got
that. He got baseball on campus and softball on campus facilities built at both Harbor and at Springdale, where they're playing on campus and not having to use city parks.
Right.
Okay, got those done. And Springdale High is building a new arena for its basketball program to bring it in line with most of the other schools in the 6A West. So he got that done. And so props to him. He's done a great job.
How long was he there?
He's been there 11-plus years.
11 years, yeah.
And so Springdale's going to miss him. But no doubt, Springdale will hire a great candidate, and they may have somebody in-house already. Chris Wood, he is the I'm not sure. I don't know if they call it a campus AD, co-AD, whatever they do, however they do that, because Bentonville kind of does the same thing.
They do.
With our boy Chris and that kind of thing, and Kevin over at West. So I'm not sure what the proper title
What's
is, but
the
anyway,
title?
But there's some good candidates there, so that's going on. And then we also heard yesterday, Alan Barton is stepping down at Greenland, and I hate that. I
one
hate
of our
that with a
favorites.
passion. But he's going to be the principal full time, so you're still going to see him around. If you go over to Greenland to D-Lee Gym and that kind of thing, you'll still see Coach Baby around there.
He'll be around,
but he won't be on the sideline for Greenland Lady Pirates basketball. So that'll be different. That'll be a blow. So he's one of our guys, one of our favorite guys, and he comes from the Clay Reeves tree of coaching. Leland, he's part of that tree. He was an assistant coach with Clay when Clay was at Greenland, and when Clay left Greenland to go to Greenwood, Alan Barton stepped in, and I think he's won 2 or 3 state championships himself. So
you know what? And they're always real good with the kids, and always pumped them up. And he always gave time for us, give us some great quotes. And it's not just on sport, on any subject in life. He talked to you about it.
And let me tell you, he is a master on that smoker over there at baseball and softball games. So Greenland's going to be hosting 3A or 2A? 2A. I believe 2A. State baseball and softball this year. So he'll be on the smoker over there.
Nice.
So when if you're assigned to go over there and cover baseball or softball that day, you'll want to go by there. Andy Shoup knows all about that, all about how Barton can do that. Now, boys, I'm going to tell you, every Thanksgiving, I drive my turkey from my house in Bella Vista to Greenland, and I pay.
You ride a turkey?
I fly it. He's still flying when I go.
All right.
I drive it down
Drive
there.
it, okay.
Drive it down there and give it to Coach Alan Barton, and he does a Cajun turkey fry for a lot of people, and it's a fundraiser sort of for the girls basketball program. But I pay him, and Ricky, he injects it with all those Cajun seasoning that he knows about, and I don't know what Justin Wilson would say about it, but he'd give it a woo-wee if he tasted it.
Well, here's something else about Alan I didn't know. I was covering a basketball tournament that Greenland was involved in, and I was looking around for Coach Barton. I said, "Where's the coach? I got to get a quote from him after the game." And said, "Oh, he left. He had to go to choir practice."
There you go. He does it all.
Choir practice? What?
He's a 5-tool coach. He can sing, he can cook, he can coach, he can do all that. Still dresses better than
He
anybody.
does it all.
So
Gonna miss him.
Yep, going to miss him on the sideline, but he'll still be over at Greenland and that kind of thing. So, Leland, what other kind of knowledge you going to drop on us real quick?
Well, in coaching news, Greenwood boys, the Greenwood Bulldogs, are still looking for a basketball coach, and the Alma Lady Airedales are looking for a new coach as well. So that's a couple of news, couple of coaching tidbits for the River Valley.
Gotcha. Now, Paul Boyd is back with us. He's been out for a little while. Paul's going to be, and we know this is a prep rally podcast, but Paul's going to give us a little Naturals. The Northwest Arkansas Naturals will kick off their home schedule,
Yes.
the 2023 schedule.
This
week, on Thursday night, they'll play their first game. Paul, they got 3 games at home. Give us what is the team? What's the mix look like for them?
Well, they return. There are probably a big number back here who played at this level a year ago. So I think people will be familiar with some names they see, and they didn't win as much as they'd like to a year ago, but I think this group will. I think you'll like what you see.
They got a new manager too, right?
They do have a new manager, Tommy Shields. He was at Wilmington a year ago, and again, seems like a great guy. Chance to visit with him a couple of days ago. Again, he's excited.
Good. They'll be playing at Arvest Ballpark. Paul, is that right? Thursday night, 7:05. Friday night, 7:05. Saturday, 6:05.
Yes.
Now, it's kind of a little quirky little start to the season for the Naturals. If you guys follow much minor league baseball in the Naturals, a couple of years ago, I guess it was right after COVID, because they had a year out, they came back and started doing 6 home games, and then they go on the road for 6, and they
6
come
on,
back.
6 off.
Yeah, like 6 and 6. But they're kind of quirky a little bit this year because they're only going to play the first 3 games at home because they're starting the season on a Thursday. So they're going to play the first 3 at home. Then they'll go on their first road swing. Then they'll be back in town mid-April. So, it's always fun to go to the Naturals games, and they have a lot of activities for kids and that kind of stuff. So
that's the great thing is it's a developmental league. It's not like the Razorbacks where you just, oh my God, we got to win every game. They may take a pitcher out in 4 innings if he's met his limit. But, man, if you got relatives up in town, you just want to go to the ballpark, eat a hot dog, drink a beer or something, man, that's just it's easy to get to right off the interstate.
Yep.
Man, a lot of development is coming around the ballpark now.
It's a good time.
It's a good time.
Really good time.
The Royals haven't been good
No.
lately, which means they've had a lot of high draft picks,
Yes.
which means you're going to get to see those draft picks come through Northwest Arkansas. And it's like I tell people, we put eyes on Eric Hosmer. We put eyes on Mike Moustakas. We put eyes on Salvi Perez. Way before they ever got to Kansas City, we knew what was happening because we had got to put eyes on them first. And you can tell who's going to be players at that level. And so this is a chance. We're lucky here, to have a beautiful ballpark. And go out there and watch these rising stars for not just the Royals, but the other teams that are coming through as well.
Yes.
Lots of really good players.
Well, and the AA level is a great level of baseball.
That's where you
too.
kind of start separating. Yeah, you
Yes.
kind of start your
Yes.
separation there.
Yes.
So get out there and catch that. I think also the ballpark out there, they've got all new. They put all new surface in there,
Yes.
all new grass and
Yes.
everything. So
and they've got some new inflatables and things like that for the kids. So
Good.
it's a great time.
Ricky, barbecue nachos. Have you had barbecue nachos?
Oh
there?
yes, sir.
Oh,
No,
boy.
not yet.
Oh
I
boy,
need to get-
Yeah,
okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. It's worth the price of admission, even though we don't pay to go to the games. We get to sit in the press box, but it's worth it.
I'm going on your recommendation then.
Yeah, absolutely. So that will take care of this week's Prep Rally podcast, and we'll be back next week, and we'll talk about more prep sports, and we'll bring you more feats of the week. So this is Chip Sousa for Rick Fires, Paul Boyd, Leland Barclay. We appreciate you for listening. We'll catch you next time.
The Prep Rally Podcast is produced and directed by the Northwest Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. Find us on SoundCloud, Apple, Google Play, Spotify, and Stitcher.